Hello, good morning everyone. How are you everyone? Welcome to our Raj Malhotra IAS channel. Welcome to our daily Hindu newspaper analysis. I hope I am audible to everyone. Good morning guys, good morning. So we are back again after a weekend. So let's start our today Hindu newspaper analysis. Today has been an interesting newspaper if you guys would have a look at it. But first of all, we would try to start the analysis of the today Hindu newspaper, right? Okay. I hope I am audible to everyone. Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Okay. So this is a very interesting news that has come recently. I think everyone is aware of this news that there were certain protests that were going on in Iran, right? There were certain protests going on in Iran. Basically, the protests that were being held in the Iran was by the women, let's say, because they were recently a woman named Mahsana Amini had been उसकी कस्टडियल डेथ हो गई थी जिसकी वजह से बहुत ज्यादा इशू हुआ था राइट तो देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ इशू दैट वाज बॉइलिंग इन ईरान इन फैक्ट दैट इशू वाज सो मच दैट द मॉरल पुलिस दैट इज बेसिकली द यूनिट्स व्हाट दे कॉल इन ईरान एज अ रिजल्ट even in the FIFA Football World Cup, Iran team didn't sing the national anthem. So finally, after these 2 months, the Iranian government has said that both parliament and judiciary would look into the matter whether the women need to cover their head or not. Till the time we are scrapping this moral unit or the moral police. So it is a great, we could say, gesture that has been taken by the Iran government in response to the recent protests that have shaken up the whole country of Iran, right? So this thing is very, very important. Okay. So I hope you are aware with this problem, right? So this is a very, we could say, a basic human right problem that is we could say plaguing had or has been plaguing the society of the Iran, right? Okay. So this was our first front page news. So you need to know that this moral police has been scrapped and it is basically called units. इनको वहां पे यूनिट्स बोलते हैं अगर हम बात करते हैं ईरान की, राइट? ओके, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट न्यूज. नाउ दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. I told you last Saturday that recently G7 countries, that is group of 7 countries, have put a certain restriction or the sanctions on the Russia, right? On what would be the price of the oil by putting it at $60 a barrel. Along with it, India said that they would continue to buy from Russia. They would continue to buy the oil from Russia. In response to this, German foreign minister, who is scheduled to visit India, had recently said 2 months ago that related to certain Kashmir issue. But now they want India to adhere to their $60 a barrel margin. They want India to adhere to this $60 a barrel margin. So they have said a very interesting thing. What that interesting thing is, that Kashmir dispute, which is between India and Pakistan, Kashmir dispute which is between India and Pakistan is a bilateral dispute. Now these things become very interesting because this is the stance that has been put forwarded by the India as well. This is the stance that has been put forwarded by India as well after the Shimla agreement. ठीक है, तो ये स्टांस अगर जर्मनी बोल रहा है, दैट इज अ ग्रुप ऑफ G7 कंट्रीज, सो इट बिकम्स वेरी बिग फ्रॉम इंडियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू because they have also their inherent motive as well, because Germany want that India shall adhere to that $60 per barrel for the Russian seaborne exports. So there is a lot of war that is going on between the Russia and the Ukraine, and its influence is not only limited in that area, its influence we have seen recently as well. इकोनॉमिक अगर हम बात करें, पॉलिटिकल बात करें, उन सब का जो अगर हम बात करें इन्फ्लुएंस है वो पूरे दुनिया भर में फैल रहा है. आप देख सकते हो कि एक वॉर की वजह से पॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस चेंज हो चुका है अगर हम जर्मन के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर की बात कर रहे हैं. इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ फॉरेन जर्मन मिनिस्टर, हिट्स इन्फ्लुएंस हैज ऑलमोस्ट बीन रिवर्स्ड बाय सेइंग दैट कश्मीर डिस्प्यूट इज नाउ अ बायलेटरल डिस्प्यूट. अब ये बायलेटरल डिस्प्यूट है जो किसको सॉल्व करना है, इंडिया और पाकिस्तान को, और जो हमारा स्टांस रहा है अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं सिंस द शिमला एग्रीमेंट, राइट? ओके, ठीक है. इफ यू हैव एनीथिंग टू एड ऑन एज वेल, यू कैन राइट इन द कमेंट बॉक्स एज वेल. एज आई हैव टोल्ड यू अर्लियर, द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर विद मी can engage anything they want to say related to Hindu newspaper analysis, right? Now, this is a very interesting article. Punjab, now a debt-trapped state, says economist, seeks release from finance ministry. Now, if we talk about situation of Punjab, various economists have come together and they have signed a petition as well, and they are trying to say that Punjab has now from debt, Punjab now has from debt stress has gone into debt trap situation. Now, this is a very interesting news that has come up, that if we talk about Punjab, it had faced certain political turmoils in 1980s. There were a lot of security problems in the 1980s. So the development process certainly automatically halted. But after that 3 decades of the peaceful government that we have had in Punjab, still after that, we could say Punjab from the debt stress has gone into this debt trap. So what these economists are looking for? They are looking for a moratorium on the loans. They are looking for the moratorium on the loans for the next 7 years. This is very, very important. जितना भी कर्जा पंजाब के ऊपर है, the debt that Punjab government owns, they want a certain temporary waiver of, or we can say temporary halt of the loan for at least 7 years. Along with it, they want a special financial package in the upcoming budget of 2023 and 2024. Now, this is very, very interesting news, that they want certain financial package in the upcoming budget. GST has played a little bit role, if we could say. Revenues of Punjab have decreased in context of GST. So its influence is seen in the revenues of the Punjab, that it has become a debt trap state. So the economists have come forward and put together this particular agenda, that these things needs to be done if we have to make sure that Punjab gets rid of its overwhelmed debt. So this is a very, very big news, that has been appeal from the economists from the Punjab side that they want a certain financial package. So this was a very interesting article that we wanted to discuss, right? Okay. Now, this is very interesting. Now see the importance of the drones now. The drones to supply drugs in Meghalaya's far east reaches. Now this is very interesting. We know that there are certain infrastructure problems, or we can say lack of road connectivity in the northeast. So if we have to go to a remote place and supply essential medicines, how can we do that? One of the way to do that is, let's say, with the help of drones. So first of all, India's first drone station, very, very important. Now this thing becomes very, very important from our prelims point of view, that India's first drone station designed for medical supplies. Very, very interesting that it has been designed for medical supplies. It is being opened at Jung Jail drone station. ये कहाँ पे open हुआ है? Jung Jail drone station. Now see the whole process. There would be this station. Let's say this is the station. From here, it would flow the drone and provide it to this area. That is one of the most remote place area of Meghalaya, and that area is Pedal Doba. That area is Pedal Doba. And this would be our Jung Jail drone station. Now this thing is very, very interesting. We guys need to understand कि यहां से ड्रोन्स को फ्लो किया जाएगा और यहां पे सप्लाई प्रोवाइड की जाएगी. एंड हेयर वी वुड हैव द प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर. यहां पे हमारे पास क्या है? वी वुड हैव द प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर, एंड दिस इज बेसिकली वुड बी अ सब डिविजनल हॉस्पिटल from where the medical supplies will be provided to this primary health care, so that the medicines are able to reach this far eastern side of this Meghalayan region. Now this is a very, very innovative step and a very important step if we talk about the usage of drones. अगर हम किनकी बात करते हैं, drones के usage की बात कर रहे हैं, तो एक बहुत बड़ा step है, because last year in the wake of the attacks that we are facing from the other side of our border, that is Pakistan, where they have increased their drone activity, because the number of sightings have now almost doubled and increased. There was a need for to have a liberalized drone policy that we did had last year 2021, where the new rules were framed for liberalized drone policy. Now Meghalaya government is using that policy only and is trying to implement this particular application of the drone. Now these things become very, very interesting, because these things you can write in your mains exam. Application of drones. These are the things that fetches you marks, because you are writing an example which is live and practical and which is in the scenario of the Indian framework, right? So these things become very, very important, and it is a very, very interesting news if we talk about applications of drones. ठीक है, एक तो सिक्योरिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से है, और यहां पे सबसे बड़ा रीजन है ये मेडिकल सप्लाई पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। ये किस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से है? इट इज फ्रॉम द मेडिकल सप्लाई पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू। आई होप यू आर थ्रू विद दिस कंसेप्ट, राइट? ओके, नाउ let's coming to editorials. There were 2 or 3 editorials that were very, very important today. So today's newspaper was very much important and flooded with news, right? So one of the thing was about this Nepal elections. There has been a little bit change in the what we see in the upcoming election that was held in the Nepal. So let's try to look at certain facts before going to the main thing what article wants to say, right? On November 20, Nepal had its general elections. Its second, very, very important, since the promulgation of the Nepal Constitution of 2015. It means Nepal Constitution बना कब है? 2015 में, और ये second general elections हो रहे हैं. This was also the first time in Nepal's history that a parliament had completed a 5-year tenure, even though legislative activities were conducted to barely 18 months. For the very first time, जो हमारा पार्लियामेंट है नेपाल का, उसने अपने पूरे 5 साल पूरे किए, right? One of the biggest outcome of this year election is about how the Madhesi parties have lost their stronghold in the Terai region, giving way to enter newer parties or the existing main parties. Now there is a little bit change in the face of the elections as well, and the face of the results in the Nepal's politics as well, because new people have now entered, or we could say existing main parties have entered. One of the most important thing is the independents have had a huge impact, very, very important. These independents are focusing on the issues which the newer generation of Nepal wants. They are focusing on the issues which the new generation of Nepal wants. One thing you guys need to understand, that when we talk about this new generation of Nepal that is in this globalized world, they not only seek, like India is the only country they can rely upon. In this era of globalization, they have so many partners they can have an alliance with, and they can look forward to. So India has to also realize this thing, that India is not only the one country that Nepal could be focusing on or relying upon, because of the face of the change in the Nepal politics. This thing is very, very interesting. Now, what if we talk about New Delhi? What New Delhi shall learn or take away from this new Nepal politics that have come up? First of all, this is a new generation of young Nepalis who see a world beyond India. They have been educated or worked outside the subcontinent. They are digitally connected to different parts of the globe. For them, India is just one other country. Now, here is the thing that is of very, very importance. Now, they have worked outside the subcontinent. It's not just Nepalis are coming and working in India. No, no, no. They are working outside as well. They are getting more connected in this globalized world. So, India has to make sure that they have this point in mind. Second, there is also a media gap. Why? Because most media houses do not have a permanent correspondent in Nepal. This is very, very interesting. हमारे मीडिया हाउसेस के परमानेंट कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट्स नहीं है नेपाल में, सो देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अ क्लियर एंड अ कट वी कुड से न्यूज. सोशल मीडिया पे न्यूज आती रहती है, पर सोशल मीडिया की न्यूज के ऊपर आप कितना रिलाई कर सकते हो? देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एम्परिंग विद द सोशल मीडिया न्यूज. थर्ड, in a country where 70% of the population is under 40 years, with 50 under 25 years, memories of the blockade still remain and has resulted in the alienation of an entire generation of Nepalis. I think you are aware of the blockade that happened in 2015. Now these memories still haunt the Nepalis, and in somehow they have put a dent in Indo-Nepal relations, and they have alienated the newer generation of these Nepalis. So India has to look forward to in respect to this new face changing of the Nepal politics, that हमें ये जो newer generation आ रही है इनको समझना होगा कि ये कैसे काम करते हैं, और हमें अपने ties को आने वाले time में बढ़ाना होगा if we are serious about improving our Indo-Nepal relationship. I hope this is the essence of the article that this article wants to convey, and you have got a good points that you can read, write or memorize, right? Are you with me guys or not? Tell me yes or no. If anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Okay. Now this was the second article that has recently come. Very, very interesting. Now this is directly relation to how we are managing our soil. Because we are not managing our soil, we are losing on its productivity, we are losing on the biodiversity, and we are losing on the food security part. As World Soil Day today, annually observed on December 5, very, very important. World Soil Day annually observed on December 5 aligns with this. इस साल की theme है soils where food begins. Very, very important. World Soil Day is observed on December 5 and its theme is soils where food begins. Now this whole article wants to say some things that I would discuss it in brief, right? Okay, now see, if we talk about soil conservation, there are a lot of issues. We could say soil erosion is one of the reasons, leaching one of the problems, overusage of fertilizers and pesticides, one of the main reasons. We could say degradation of soil, unsustainable agriculture, not promoting enough organic farming and natural farming. ये आप चीजें नहीं कर रहे हो, ये चीजें आप कर रहे हो. Now it has somehow led to the problem of soil degradation. It has somehow led to the problem of soil degradation. That is what it wants to say, that nearly 3.7 million hectares suffer from nutrient loss in soil, that is depletion of soil organic matter, further excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides, and irrigation with contaminated waste are also polluting the soils. Also, 29% of India's land area is affected by these problems that we have just discussed. Problem of leaching, problem of soil erosion, unsustainable agriculture, overuse कर रहे हैं fertilizer और pesticide, organic farming की तरफ नहीं जा रहे हैं, natural farming की तरफ हम नहीं जा रहे हैं. These are problems are aggravating the problem if we talk about soil degradation. If these would be the problems that would lead to soil degradation, it would have a direct impact on the productivity of the soil. If the productivity is hampered, we can somehow relate it to that food security would be hampered. Very, very important. क्या hamper हो सकती है? हमारी food security भी hamper हो सकती है. अब how we can tackle this problem is very, very important. Now there are certain initiatives that have been taken by the Indian government to solve this problem. Now Indian government follows a 5-pronged approach. What is that 5-pronged approach in order to protect the soil biodiversity or soil conservation? Let's try to have a look. Very, very important. Making soil chemical free, saving soil biodiversity, enhancing soil organic matter or the nutrients, maintaining soil moisture, and mitigating soil degradation and preventing soil erosion. These are the 5 major steps that India needs to follow or has its policy towards following these 5 key principles. Now, What are the various initiatives that have been taken by the Indian government? You must be knowing about the soil health card scheme that was launched in 2015-16, basically to remove excessive use of fertilizers. Excessive use of fertilizers. This scheme was particularly launched. I hope you are aware of this particular soil health card scheme. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana that wants to help recharge groundwater, that more focuses on micro irrigation. Does anyone know the components of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana? There are two components inside Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana. Does anyone know? You can write in the comment box. Third, we have National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture that highlights the role of organic farming plus natural farming. The problems that we are facing, we have schemes to implement them, right? Next, Food Agriculture Organization is collaborating with National Rainfed Area Authority and Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to develop forecasting tools using data analytics. Very very important. अब सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि हमें पहली बार डेटा एनालिटिक्स चाहिए जिससे हम मैप कर सके किसी भी रीजन को. वी कैन मैप अ सर्टेन रीजन एंड वी कैन ensure the efficiency of that particular region, whether that soil or whether that land is fit for agriculture, whether that land is fit for organic agriculture or not. So Food Agriculture Organization is helping us in using this data analytics, and it has worked in certain states as well. We would discuss those states as well, but this is very very important. Yes, very good. Okay, these are the FAO work that is currently going on. The FAO, in association with Ministry of Rural Development, supports Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, community resource persons to increase their capacities towards supporting on-farm livelihoods for the adoption of sustainable and resilient practices, organic certification and agri gardens. Now, अगर हम FAO की बात कर रहे हैं, वो रूरल डेवलपमेंट के साथ भी काम करता है, दीनदयाल अंत्योदय योजना को भी लॉन्च कर रहा है. क्यों कर रहा है वो? बिकॉज इट वांट्स द एग्रीकल्चर दैट वी आर फॉलोइंग इज केमिकल फ्री, इज सस्टेनेबल and is able to fulfill the food security of the country by using its method of data analytics. I hope you are clear with this article, what this article wants to say, what are the problems, what are India's strategies and schemes, and what is Food Agriculture Organization particularly doing to help us secure better in terms of food productivity. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana has two parts. Remember, per crop more drop, per crop more drop, sorry, per drop more crop, per drop more crop, and एक और था मेरे को, हर खेत को पानी. These are the two components of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana, per drop more crop, and second one is that हर खेत को पानी, right? Okay, this was the second editorial that was very very interesting. Now, this was an opinion article, also an editorial, but we need to understand it in a very short manner because they have introduced a new term, right? That new term I have just mentioned over here, that new term is returnable grant. Now you would be asking me, sir, grant तो कभी वापस की नहीं जाती है, grant usually is never returned back. How then you are talking about this returnable grant? Now let me give you a little background. If we talk about our informal sector that doesn't get an access to the loans from the banking system, why? Because they don't have a good credit history, because they basically borrow from the money lenders or from the informal sources, so they don't get access to that particular formal sector. So this is an initiative that has been taken up by basically this Samhita GCF. This is a foundation that has started a process in identifying certain beneficiaries which are in the informal sector, and they are providing them grant. Let's say maximum amount जो है लोन का 10,000 है, but this is a grant that has to be returned. Either you can return it in EMI or lump sum. Now question comes, when it is a grant, how do you ensure that the people who are in the informal sector, who don't have a good credit history, would certainly return the money that has been provided to them? This is the one catch that is here in this returnable grant, because if they are able to repay the grant, then they are eligible for another schemes as well, like insurance, interest free subsidies. These are the, or we could say, interest rate subsidies. These are the major, we could say, carrot that has been given to this informal sector, that if you return the money, that you would be eligible for more other schemes. And what a good thing has happened, that around 70% of the people are returning the grant. 70% of the people are returning this basically returnable grant. So this is a new financial instrument that if it has been used by, let's say, this foundation can be used by our banking sector as well, because we want the informal sector to become less and less and be coming in more and more formal sector. अगर वो फॉर्मल सेक्टर में ज्यादा आएगा तो हम कह सकते हैं उसकी फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन हम अचीव कर सकते हैं. I think most of you guys would be knowing that when a person borrows from the informal sector, then certainly there is a situation of debt trap on that particular person and he gets entangled in the loan forever. So in order to prevent that person from going into that vicious cycle, this is a new virtuous cycle that has been proposed by this particular foundation, that is this returnable grant. I hope you are clear with this new terminology, and if you write an answer, you would be able to incorporate this point particularly in your answer. What could be the steps if could be taken to reform the informal sector? Is it clear, guys? Right? Okay. Now, I think most of you would be aware of the recent development that has happened related to a forum related to Indian Ocean that had been organized by China. Now, this thing has become really interesting. China said that Australia, Maldives along with its 17 countries participated in this Chinese Indian Ocean Region Forum, that is China India Ocean Region Forum. But there was a certain surprise. Australia and Maldives said that they did not participate officially in this particular conference. उन्होंने इसके अंदर पार्टिसिपेट नहीं किया because Indian Ocean और उसके जो आसपास की कंट्रीज हैं, they don't recognize this thing, but they recognize Indian Ocean Rim Association. They recognize what? Indian Ocean Rim Association, and they don't have anything with relation to this China Indian Ocean Region Forum. Now what is the problem? Okay, what is the problem that has come up in relation to this thing? Now China, if we say, wants to increase its influence in the Indian Ocean region. China wants to increase its sphere of influence in the Indian Ocean region. Recently, it has set up its military base in Djibouti. I think you must be aware of this eastern country of Africa, that it has set up a military base in this particular region, that is Djibouti. Now, it is also increasing its sphere of influence in the Indian Ocean region. There are lot more Chinese vessels that have been identified in this Indian Ocean region. So recently, when this forum happened of this China Indian Ocean Region Forum, first of all, it happened in the city of Kunming, and there was a joint, we could say, statement that was given by this forum, which said, proposed to establish marine disaster prevention and mitigation cooperation mechanism between China and countries in the Indian Ocean region, and all parties agreed to strengthen policy disasters and enhance relevant countries' capacity to obtain economic benefits through use of marine resources such as fisheries, renewable energy, tourism, shipbuilding or shipping in a sustainable way. See, Indian Ocean region is a very important region. First of all, it has got a lot of resources. It is basically a area from where we have a lot of sea lanes of communication. So China wants to increase its influence in this Indian Ocean region. When it gives this joint statement, it becomes a very, very important news from Indian as point of view as well, and from the countries that are involved in this Indian Ocean region as well. But Australia and Maldives have said that they have nothing to do with this forum. They have nothing to do with this forum that was organized in the Chinese city of Kunming. Now, India sees Indian Ocean Rim Association as an already established platform for the region, which has 23 members, including Australia and Maldives, with 10 dialogue partners, which include China, Japan, Russia, UK and US. तो इंडिया ने अपना स्टांस क्लियर बोल दिया कि अगर हम इंडियन ओशन रीजन की बात कर रहे हैं, if we are talking about this Indian Ocean region, then we are only saying this is the only platform. We do not recognize the platform that has been now organized by China. It is for the very first time that they have organized this meeting. Right now, I have already told you about this, that China is increasing its military facility in Djibouti near Horn of Africa. Chinese military ships, trekking vessels and submarines have been visiting ports in the region with greater frequency. And most importantly, Chinese military planners have previously said that the PLA Navy earlier this year launched its third aircraft carrier, has a long-term plan to deploy 6 aircraft carriers to secure China's maritime interests, and 2 of them will be based in Indian Ocean region. China जो अपने aircraft carriers है वो establish करना चाह रहा है. It wants to establish its aircraft carrier in this Indian Ocean region. Now this news becomes very, very important. It wants to establish in this Indian Ocean region. So as a result, we have to make sure that we are able to counter this China Indian Ocean region forum and establish Indian Ocean Rim Association as the major platform. If anything related to Indian Ocean has to be discussed, it has to be discussed in this particular association. I hope you are aware now, fully equipped with the news related to this article, right? Okay. Now, this thing is very, very important. I hope everyone knows that recently Navy Day celebrate hua, and our president has said India's growth and prosperity is linked to the oceans. Now, this is very, very important. She is saying basically in respect of our importance of our Navy, and they tried to commemorate Operation Trident, which was an attack on Karachi Harbour during 1971 War of Liberation of Bangladesh. Now, Navy is very, very important. One of the reason why Navy is important, let's try to understand. अगर हमारी Navy important है, we could say we have an influence in the Pacific region or the Indian Ocean region. As a result, because our Navy was strong, we became a member of Quad. Quad के member लिख दो chat box में, कौन कौन से होते हैं? Yes, yes, Vicky, you are absolutely right. Yes, absolutely right. फटाफट Quad के member लिखो. And are you able to identify this thing? Our Quad position is leveraged because of our strong Navy. That is what we are trying to achieve. And we are on the basis of Vikrant, INS Vikrant, which has been recently commissioned, our aircraft carrier. We are looking forward to launch another Indian aircraft carrier, that is to strengthen our Indian Navy. Now this thing is very, very important. अगर हमें अपनी ग्रोथ इंपॉर्टेंट करनी है, प्रॉस्पेरिटी करनी है, तो हमें अपनी नेवी को स्ट्रॉन्ग करना पड़ेगा. वेरी गुड किंशी होंग एंड विक्की गौतम, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी गुड. You are able to write about what are the countries that constitute the Quad group. I hope you are clear with this news. This is very, very important. If you want to, you can write this as well. Operation Trident was attack on Karachi Harbour during 1971 war, right? Okay. These are the last 2 news. I have just taken the clipping so that I am able to tell you a little bit about them, right? Now, non-essential construction work banned in Delhi NCR. Now, this plan that has been now implemented owing to the air quality index, which has become worsened or have now come into the severe category. I am talking about air quality index which has now come into the severe category, is in the range of 400 to 450. जब एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स की रेंज 400 से 450 के बीच में हो जाती है, तो अब हमारी एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स सीवियर कैटेगरी में आ जाती है, राइट? अगर इसके बाहर चली जाए तो वो सीवियर प्लस है, then it is severe plus if air quality index is greater than 450. Now in Delhi and NCR, to look into the problem of the pollution, they have in place a graded response action plan. When air quality index falls to, let's say, this severe category, which lies in the range of 400 to 450, then automatically graded response action plan gets implemented, under which there is ban on the non-essential construction work, right? This graded response action plan was formulated by a body. ये कौन बना के गया था? By a body by the name of EPCA, Environmental Pollution Control Authority. But I will tell you one thing, this body is now abolished. That was a judicial appointed body, and in its place we have Commission for Air Quality Monitoring, which is now an executive body. So these are the two important facts that you guys need to know, that severe 3 category comes when air quality index is in between this range, and this graded response action plan was formulated by EPCA, which is now replaced by Commission for Air Quality Monitoring. This is now an executive body. This is now a central body that would be looking at the problems of pollution in Delhi and NCR, right? Okay. This was the second news that is very very important. I hope everyone knows कि G7 ने sanction लगाए हैं रशिया के ऊपर, but still OPEC countries are saying, or OPEC plus, that we would continue present output, that they would not be increasing the production owing to the decline what would happen if the prices of the Russian oil are set up at $60 crude per barrel. They have said they would continue present output, right? So this was the interesting news that have come in today's newspaper. I hope you are able to get what I am trying to say, right? Okay, one thing, quote of the day, as everyone asked me to write down quote of the day. Now listen to this very carefully. If you have पहले कभी पढ़ा है तो it's fine, but try to understand. Some day is not a day of the week. Some day is not a day of the week. That means when we say that we will do this thing that day or someday, that day never comes, because it is not a day of the week. The day of the week is only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And on these 6 days, we present you the Hindu newspaper analysis. I hope you are able to understand this thing, and okay. Chalo ji, I hope you are able to understand this thing and implement in your life. I wish you best of luck, and we would meet tomorrow again same time for the Hindu newspaper analysis. If you want me to add on anything, I would be happy to acknowledge it and incorporate in my presentation of bringing you the Hindu newspaper analysis. I am having a very good time enjoying with you guys and catching up with all the latest news that is coming in the Hindu newspaper. I hope you are now able to get what I am trying to say and how I am able to present you the Hindu newspaper articles. I am trying in the manner so that after you go through this session, you won't have to read the newspaper. You just have to look at the PPT. Rest of your purpose is solved. So thank you so much. We would see each other tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.